In this tutorial, I'll be teaching you how to sew this beautiful draped gown without joining on the side. And I'm going to show you how to sew this beautiful gown without a pattern. So right here, you can see what I got right here. These are my drapes, and you can see there's no joining at the side at all. Okay, so it's actually a kimono gown without a joining on this side. So this is the back, and you can see what I got right there. So this is my beautiful dress. This dress is actually very beautiful. It has a front slit, as you can see. So I'll be teaching you the tips and tricks to sewing this without a pattern. I'm not going to use any pattern to sew this dress. I'll show you how to cut it and still have exactly what you want without a pattern. So please stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Right here, I'm making use of 4 yards of Duchess fabric. So my fabric is Duchess. I'm using 4 yards. You can use scuba, light scuba, or soft scuba. You can use velvet. Any fabric that is soft can give this effect. So this is the length of my Duchess. My Duchess is 4 yards and the length is 60 inches. So the first thing you are going to do is to place your fabric on bias. So you can see I place it like a triangle. So right here, that is the side without a joining. So the next is to make another triangle. So this triangle right now, I'm going to take the measurement from my waist to my hip. So my waist is 17 inches. I'll place it at that point, 17 inches to my hip, above my hip, 2 inches above your hip. Okay, so I placed it above my hip line, 2 inches. So after that, the next you are going to do is to place your tape on that part I'm touching right now. That part is your waistline. So I'm going to place my waist divide by 4 times 2.5 inches. So my waist divide by 4 is 9.5 plus 2.5 inches is 24 inches. So I'll just go ahead and mark 24 inches on that line. So that is the pleating allowance. After that, I'm going to place my tape. On that point, you place your waist. My waist is 17. And from that point, I'm going to measure straight. So that is your center front and center back. So just go ahead and place from your waistline 17 inches or whatever your waist is, mark to your desired length. So my desired length I marked there is 60 inches. So on that 60 inches line, I'm going to take my waist divide by 4. That is quarter of your waist. You mark quarter of your waist. So after marking the quarter of my waist, I ruled a straight line to highlight the hemline. So that point is just small. That's why I'm using the quarter of my waist. So next is to add 1 inch for my zipper allowance and for my seam allowance. So just go to the waist and add 1 inch. So I added 1 inch on the waistline and added 1 inch on the hemline. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to rule a straight line. So I'll go ahead and connect the waistline to the hemline. So after connecting the waistline to the hemline, next I'm going to cut out the shape of this down part. So this down part is just one side of the dress. So I'm cutting out the part we folded first, that is the drape part. So I'm going to cut it out first, then we'll now go over to the waistline, and we are going to cut from the waistline to the hemline. Then I'm going to cut out the down part or the hem part of this dress. Okay, so after cutting it out, this is the shape I have for this dress. So I actually divided my 4 yards into 2 yards. Okay, so when you get your 4 yards, divide it into 2. So I'm going to bring back the other 2 yards remaining, and I'm going to place it on fold 2. So place it on fold, and then I'm going to place the other half I've already cut out on top of it. Make sure the bias part is matching the bias part. So that bias part or the folded part is the side of the down part. So I'm arranging it appropriately so I'll be able to cut out exactly the shape. So I'll proceed to cutting out exactly the shape I have on the first half. So I'll go all the way to cut it out, as you can see on the waistline, and then I'm going to take it all the way to the center front line and then cut out on the hemline. So after cutting, I have two pieces. You can see the two pieces right there. So for these two pieces right now, I'm going to take off one so we can work on one. So one of them, I placed a notch on one side of it. So wherever you want to be the center back, just place a notch, okay, for your zipper allowance. So that part will show the part that is the center back, because we have center back and center front on this side. So I've made a notch on my zipper part now. So the next thing I'm going to do now, the parts of the cowl, I'm going to open it up and place it right side to right side. I'll go over to the machine and I'll stitch 1/2 inch to it. So after stitching the 1/2 inch, that 1/2 inch part will be the side of this dress, and this is the waistline. So I'll just open it up right now. Next, we'll begin to pleat it. So for the pleating, I have my zipper already, so I'm going to take 3.5 inches at the beginning and 4.5 inches from the side. Then I'll begin to mark 5 inches in between them. So there is no calculation to how you are going to pleat, but I just felt like using this method. So I'm pleating towards the side. You just pleat towards the side seam where we have the joining. So you can also take it off and rearrange it if you feel the pleating you have right there need to be adjusted. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and pin towards the side, as you can see. Then I'll also pick it up from this part and also pin. So I'm just trying to make my pleats. I have 3 pleats for the back and 3 pleats for the front. So now I'm going to take the measurement of my waist divided by 4 again. So I noticed that I have to make some more adjustments. So that was why I said there is no particular measurement as to how to pleat. So you just keep adjusting your pleats, okay? You keep adjusting your pleats and taking your measurement from the side to the center back until you get exactly your waist divided by 4. So after I'm done adjusting, I secured with my pin, and the part I pinned right now is the back pleats. So one side of this cowl or this drape has the center back, while the other one has the center front. So I'll measure it again, and to be sure I have exactly what I wanted. So after I got what I wanted, I will move over to the other side, which is the front side. So here I got exactly what I wanted. So from that joining, okay, I'm going to take exactly the measurement. Make sure the measurements are the same, okay? So I'll measure what I have at the front, 4.5. I'll just go ahead and measure exactly what I have at the center back on the center front. So the same measurement I used on the other side, that is what I'm going to use on the front. So at interval, I measured 5 inches again. So that is for the front. So I'll begin to pleat. So I'm picking from the center. My pleatings, I'm picking from the center to match my mark. I'll also do the same, pick from the center, match the next marking. Of course, you are seeing what I'm doing there. I'll also do the same on the other side. Just pick the center like that and match the marking. So these pleatings right now, especially for the front, is temporary. I'm going to set it aside and we'll move over to the front dress. So for the front dress right now, I've placed my fabric on fold. We are going to cut out the kimono upper part with pleatings on the waistline. So the first thing I'll do is to create a borderline after folding my fabric. Then the next I'll do is to take the measurements from that borderline. You are going to take your waistline. So my waistline is 17 inches. I'll add half an inch to it, which is 17.5. That is my waistline. So after marking your waistline, I'm going to take off 2 inches from my waistline. I'll count 2 inches upwards because there's going to be a band. So I'm going to replace that part with my band. So I'll just rule my line above. So I have 15.5 right now. The rest will be replaced with my band. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure the neck width. So my neck width is 3.5. I'll just mark 3.5 inches. And the neck depth, I'm using 7.5 inches. So I'm going to connect 7.5 inches neck depth to the neck width of 3.5 inches. So I'll proceed to connect the neckline. So after connecting the neckline, the next we are going to take our shoulder measurement. So I'll place my tape once again, but make sure you pin that because the fabric is actually wobbling, so I have to pin before I continue. So next we are going to take our shoulder measurement. So I'm trying to highlight the V neckline so you can see it very well. So I'll place my tape at the center front right now, and we are going to measure the shoulder divided by 2. So I have 8 inches. Then from that 8 inches, I'll mark my sleeve length. My sleeve length is 12 inches. So I'll go ahead and mark 12 inches on my sleeve length. So after marking the 12 inches, I'm going to highlight that line very well. Then I'm going to take 1.5 inches down. 1.5 inches is for my drop, my shoulder drop. So I'll go ahead and connect 1.5 inches from the neckline to the shoulder drop. Then after connecting that line, I'll go ahead and mark a straight line. This is a kimono dress. Of course, you know how to go about it. I'll mark a straight line, and then I'm going to measure 9 inches for my sleeve opening. So I place my tape and mark 9 inches for my sleeve opening and also highlight that line. So next I'll go in straight by 3 inches. So I connected inside from that sleeve 3 inches. So I measured 3 inches, and from that 3 inches I came down straight to meet the waistline. So I connected the waistline. Then I also thought of taking it at 3 inches. Initially I took 4 inches in, so I'm going to take it in at 3 inches. So we have enough pleating on the waistline. I believe you understand. I just added 1 more inch to what I have before. So I'm going to, on the sleeve, I'll add 1 inch. So this 1 inch is for my hemming of my sleeve. So I added 1 inch and then connected it to that line. So the kimono top is ready right now. So I'm going to cut out the neckline, and I'll go over to cut out the shoulder slant line. So I'll cut out the shoulder slant line. Then I'm going to cut out from that shoulder slant line, go ahead and cut the sleeve area. So I'll cut the sleeve area. So but don't forget to make that curve, that kimono curve. So I have to put a curve at that point. So I'll go ahead and cut, as you can see. So the dress is ready right now. I'll just cut out the 2 inches of my band. So I'll just cut out that part that I will replace it with my band. So I place my fabric together again for the back dress. So I'm adding 1 inch zipper allowance. The back part will have a zip. So just go ahead and add 1 inch for your zipper. So after adding 1 inch, I'll also make a border line too. Next, I'm going to place the fabric, the center front. Make sure the center front is touching the zipper line. So arrange it very well. Secure with your pins accordingly. Then we are going to cut exactly what we have on the front, at the back. So the only difference is just the zipper allowance. So I'll go ahead right now and I'm going to cut out from the neckline. So I'll cut right now. So I first cut the down part of the dress. So exactly what I have at the front, that is what I'm cutting for the back. The difference is just the zipper allowance. So I went ahead and cut all the way down. So after cutting, we are going to stitch the 2 front sides together. So I'm done cutting now. So the first thing we are going to do is to start making our pleats. So I'll go ahead to make pleats on the dress. But before that, don't forget to create your facing. So I'll just move ahead to the creating of my facing. So this is what the back piece looks like. So I'll go ahead and place the back piece to cut out my facing. So secure your pin first with your pins and then cut out your facing accordingly. So I went ahead to arrange this neckline very well. When you are working with Duchess fabric, it's not always very easy, but then you have to be very careful while cutting it. So I'm going to take off the dress now and I'll go ahead and shaping the facings. Just give your facing a very nice shape. So next I'm going to place my facing. So we are going to work on the back piece first. So here is the facing for the back. So I'll open up the dress and place my facing right side to right side. So I'm going to cut out a rope at the back. So the width of this rope is 1.5 inches and the length is 20 inches. So I'll just place it on fold and I'll just go ahead and stitch. So after stitching, I'm going to turn it with my needle and thread. So at the closed edge, I'll just turn my needle to the back part and use it to turn this rope. The rope is very tiny and it might be very difficult to turn. So I use my needle and thread to turn it. So I'll just go ahead and turn. As you can see, I've turned it. Then I'll cut out the rope. I'll do the same for the other side as well. So the next is to cut out the thread and I'm going to give my rope a good press. Now we are going to insert this rope first before we stitch the facing. So my rope is ready. I'll insert it 1/2 inch below the neckline. Then I'm going to stitch, secure with your pin and then stitch it together with your facing. So I'll just go ahead right now to stitch it together with my facing, as you can see. So after stitching, I'm going to make a notch. I'll make a notch at that junction. Don't forget to make a notch. Okay, so after making that notch, next is to flip all your seams on the part of the facing and top stitch. So this is what I got. Now the back dress is ready. So once I put the zipper, that is how it's going to look like. Now we are going to go over to the front to cut out the facing. So I'm using the same method I used to cut the facing for the back to cut the facing for the front. So I just place my piece of fabric on fold. Then I'm going to place the center front on the folded edge of my facing. I'll proceed to cut out the neckline, as you can see. So I'll cut out the neckline right away, and I'll have my facing right now to use to turn my neckline. So this is it. So next is to shaping your facing. So I went ahead and shaping my facing, and I'm going to place this facing right side to right side of the dress, secure with my pins, and I'm going to stitch accordingly. So after stitching, don't forget to make a notch at the center. So I made a notch at that center to ease the V neckline, and I'll flip all my seams to the part of the facing and top stitch. I gave it a good press, and this is what I got. So we are going to jump into the main business of this tutorial, which is the pleating on the waistline. So you are going to make a notch at the center front. So after making the notch at the center front, we'll begin to pleat. So I'm going to pleat from the center front. I'm going to measure 3 inches. Okay, I'll just measure 3 inches from the center front. I'll measure 3 inches like that, So if your waist is bigger, you can measure 2.5 inches. If your waist is smaller, you can measure 4 inches. So I'll just go ahead and start pleating, and I want you to watch how I'm pleating. I'll pick up the first line, and I'm going to pleat it at the center in between the 2 lines I marked. Then I'll pick up the next line at the center. Of course, if you look at what I'm doing right here, you'll be able to pleat very well. So I went ahead to pick and pleat. So after pleating, I have to take the measurement of my waistline. I'll take the measurement of my waistline from that center front line to be sure I have exactly half of my waist plus 1 inch seam allowance, quarter of my waist, sorry, plus 1 inch seam allowance. So I have quarter of my waist right there. Okay, so if you don't have, just loosen it up. So I noticed that I don't have up to, it's just remaining a little. So I just kept adjusting anyway. So you just keep adjusting until you have exactly what your waist, quarter of your waist plus 1 inch is exactly. So now I'm taking the measurement again to be sure I have exactly what I wanted. So after that, I'll go over to the other side. I'm going to measure 3 inches also. 3 inches. So I measure 3 inches, and I'm also going to pleat to the direction of the side seam. So you can see where I'm taking my pleat. So I'll just pick it from the center to match up. Just the same method I used for the right side. That is the same method I'm going to use to pleat the left side. So you have to keep adjusting until you get exactly what you want on the waistline. So I'm going to mark, I'm going to pin. So I actually took my time to pin and make sure I get exactly what I want. So this is what I got after all. So now I'm going to take the measurement again to be sure I have exactly what I wanted. So if I don't have what I want, I'll keep adjusting until I get what I want. So I think I have what I want right now. So the next thing is to go over to the machine and hold down the pleats. So here you can see me holding down the pleats. So I went ahead to hold down the pleats accordingly. So after holding down the pleats and making sure the pleats are in place, I'll go ahead and iron it down. So you can see how I'm ironing it. So you make sure you iron the pleats to nothing. So that is exactly what I'm doing right here. So after ironing the pleats to nothing, the front part is ready. So we are going to jump into the back part right now. So we are going to pleat the back, or we are going to gather the back. Just as you can see on the picture right there, you can see the back is actually gathered. So I'm going to gather the back. But if you want to pleat the back, no problem. But I'm going to gather it because that is what we have on the picture right there. So I'll proceed to gathering the back right away. So after gathering, I gathered it into my waist, quarter of my waist, plus 1 inch seam allowance and 1 inch zipper allowance. So I'm trying to adjust the gathers to be sure I have exactly quarter of my waist plus 1 inch for zipper and 1 inch for side seam. So I checked the both sides to be sure it is okay. So once it is okay, we are going to place this dress right now, right side to right side, and we are going to sew the shoulder seam line. So I'm going to place the front on top of the back, and we are going to wrap up the facing. So I'll pick up one of the facing right now and wrap it up to the back, as you can see. Then I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch on the shoulder seam line. So here the shoulder seam line is ready, and we are going to work on the sleeve area. So I'll just go over to the machine now, and I'm going to run my stitches on the sleeve area. So here my sleeve is ready, as you can see. So next is to sew the size of this dress. So I'm going to place it right side to right side, and I'm going to stitch 1/2 inch first, then go in by 1 inch on this side. So I'll do the same on both sides. So after sewing the side seam, I will make a notch at that kimono curve. Don't forget to make a notch to free that side. So here the upper part of this dress is ready. So the next thing we are going to do is to prepare the band for this dress. The upper part is ready, so we are going to place our band. So right now I've cut my band. My band width is 3 inches on fold, and the length is my waist circumference plus 2 inches for zipper. So I hasted it, as you can see. So now I'm going to stitch the center front of the band to the center front of the dress, right side to right side. So I'll go ahead and stitch right side to right side of the center front of the dress. So here I'm going to secure with my pin, as you can see. So I'll go ahead and stitch on top of it. So I will keep adjusting before I stitch. So here I've stitched the upper part of the dress. So the next is to bring the down part of this dress. Okay, so I will go ahead to bring the down part of this dress right now. So I'm going to place the down part. This is the down part which we prepared and kept. So I've pleated both sides. Okay, so this is the first half. So the first half of it, I'm going to match the side of the dress to the side of the down part. So make sure you align it, so you can see me pinning it. Okay, so we are going to use the down part or the upper part to adjust the pleating. So the pleating is going to match with what we have at the upper part, and this is the center front area. So I'll just go ahead and secure my pin on the center front and bring in the center front of the down part of the dress. So if you watch now, you can see the pleating I have right there on the down part is not matching exactly with the upper part. So you have to make it match. So that was why I stopped at that point and prepared the upper part. So I'm going to loosen my pins right now on the pleating on the front, and we are going to adjust the pleatings on the front accordingly. So just go ahead and adjust the pleatings on the front to match up on the what we have on the upper part and on the down part accordingly. So at this point you actually need to be professional, so you'll be able to sew this dress accurately. So I've adjusted the pleatings. As you can see, I kept shifting them or adjusting it to make sure the upper part matches exactly as you can see on the picture on the thumbnail. So here I think I have exactly what I want right now. So once I'm done adjusting the front or the down part, I'll stitch on it. So you can see what I got right here. I've already gone ahead to stitch on it, and I've prepared the other half too. So here I'm going to match right side to right side of the other half. So make sure the part that is the zipper part, I made notch on the zipper part. So I'll secure with my pin. I'm going to leave my zipper position. So my zipper position is 8 inches at that point. So I'm going to also match the center front area. So on the center front, I'm going to stitch 1 inch all the way from the beginning to where my slit will start. So my slit is going to start 4 inches above my natural knee line. So I'll go over and stitch all the way down till I get to my slit, and I'm going to start after 9 inches of my zipper. So here I've stitched my center front, and my center back I left my zipper space. So now the next we are going to do is to match the upper part and the lower part. So I'm going to put the upper part together so we'll be able to get the center front. So I'll just go ahead and create a notch at my center front. After creating the notch on my center front, I'm going to match right side to right side of the center front of the down part to the center front of the upper dress. So make sure you match the center front, the sides, measure them very well so they will match accordingly. So this is the side. I'll match the side seams together. I'll match the side seams together. So after matching, I'll now go ahead and arrange the waistline to the band line and stitch to the end of it. So here I'm done stitching, and this is what I got. So I'm going to place my zipper right now. The dress is ready, so I'm just going to sew my zip. So I'm sewing an invisible zip to this dress. So I'll just go ahead and sew my invisible zip. As you can see, I'll just sew it in. So after sewing, this is what I got. Make sure the bands are matching, okay? So I'll just go ahead. I've already sewn it and I made sure my bands are matching. So this is what I have at the inner part of the dress. So we have gradually come to the end of this tutorial. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So that is how we'll come to the end. Like I said, the front slit is 4 inches above my natural knee line. So I went ahead to use my hemming gum to finish it up nicely and the down part of it. So that is how we'll come to the end of this tutorial. So I believe this class was helpful to you. So if you are new to this channel, please kindly subscribe, turn on your notification bell to receive videos like this every day. Like this video, share to family and friends, drop your comment on the comment section and your suggestions as well. Thank you once again and see you in the next one. Bye.